Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. In today's video I'm going to share with you guys my makeup recommendations for the upcoming half off makeup sale. Can you see that? Okay, so I'm going to list the details for this sale up on the screen because I always mess it up. From what I can tell, most brands are going to be a part of this makeup sale, except for Revolution Makeup, I Heart Revolution, Napoleon Perdis and Inatio. They are going to only be 30% off, whereas everything else is going to be half off. Also, things to note, I'm just reading like the little brief. The sale is going to be available nationally, online and in store. Also says that they now offer click and collect at certain stores. My favourite tip to give to people is to create a wish list, because this obviously isn't happening yet. Create a wish list and add everything that you plan on buying into that little wish list, and then when the sale officially starts, and I do believe it starts like at the stroke of midnight online, just go to your wish list, add everything in your wish list, and then just place your order and then go to bed. And yes, I am not wearing makeup. It is currently 11 PM in the evening. I am going to go to bed as soon as I edit this, so yes, please forgive me for not wearing any makeup. So I have done a couple of videos before recommending products. If you guys are interested, I have a playlist which will be linked on the screen and down in the description box down below. I still stand by those recommendations, and also there's going to be a couple of repeats here and there. Let's start off first with base products. Now, primer, I do recommend the Maybelline Face Studio Prime Pore Minimizing Primer. If you guys are fans of pore filling primers like the Benefit Professional, I would say this is a good, inexpensive alternative. Another one that you can try out if you don't really like that sort of like silicone-y slip kind of feel, but you still want sort of like that blurring effect on the skin, I do recommend this one from CoverGirl. This one is their True Blend Base Business. So like I said, it doesn't really have that sort of like silicone-y slick feel. I know that for some people that can kind of irritate their skin, so if you still want that skin blurring effect, grab this one. Color corrector, I still love my Maybelline one, so I'll flash an image on the screen. That one is still really good. This one is what I've been using as well recently. This one is the Revolution Concealing Correct. This one is the Orange Corrector. They do have a couple of shades available as well, so whether you're using it for your under eyes or your 5 o'clock shadow, depending on how deep your complexion is, you can go for the peach one, you can go for the orange or the red one. So peach one for fairer complexions, tan medium skin tones, orange, and red for the deeper, darker skin tones. Let's move on to foundations. There are a couple that I do recommend. Now, just to give you guys a little bit of information of what kind of foundations I like full coverage. I like medium full coverage foundations, just because I like cake face, essentially. And I do have slightly oilier skin, in particular the T-zone. The rest of my face is pretty normal, but yeah, just so you know where I'm coming from and why I'm recommending these particular foundations. So let's start off first with Australis. This one is the Fresh and Flawless foundation. They have a wide range of foundations, and it has SPF 15 as well, so you can have a little bit of sun protection in your foundation as well. This is already inexpensive, so obviously with the sale it's going to be a hell of a lot cheaper. Another foundation that has a very good shade range is the L'Oreal True Match Super Blendable foundation. And we all know that L'Oreal can be quite pricey, so this is definitely the chance to get a foundation from L'Oreal. Again, they have a wide selection of colours, different undertones as well. Another foundation that has a decent amount of shades available here in Australia is the Revolution Conceal and Hydrate. Is that what it's called? Yeah, Conceal and Hydrate Radiance foundation with hyaluronic acid. So if you don't know what hyaluronic acid is, it's basically an ingredient they add to skincare and now obviously makeup to attract water, so it can kind of make the skin look a bit plump. So this has got very good coverage and also sort of like that skin plumping effect on the skin. I wouldn't say they have the best in terms of like undertones available here, but shade range is pretty good. And again, Revolution is one of those brands that's quite inexpensive. Mind you, it's only 30% off, but still that's a good amount to be knocked off the price. Next, I have got a foundation that I have found recently to be quite polarizing. This one is the Rimmel London Lasting Matte Foundation. This one is a full coverage mattifying foundation. Not the best shade rate. Not the best shade range, I have to admit, but the formula is really good if you can find a shade for yourself. It is quite full coverage. It's that sort of like moussey consistency. So if you definitely like cake face, like full on coverage, this is definitely one to check out. But I do suggest doing more research because I've heard some people say that they look like a cakey mess at the end of the day. When I say I like cake face, I like a lot of layers, but to me, honestly, this looks amazing on my skin. So I have no problems with it. I highly recommend it if it works for you. Next we've got two Maybelline foundations. I've got the Dream Urban Cover. Again, another inexpensive fuller coverage foundation. I also like the Maybelline Fit Me one, but I feel like the Maybelline Fit Me one is just a medium coverage foundation. It's a little bit buildable, but not anywhere near like full coverage like this. And also it has SPF 40 and an anti-pollution, I think it's like blue light protection or something in this as well. A really good foundation. Shade range is very limited compared to the Fit Me though. They have a very similar sort of like number system and name system. So if you know what your shade is in Fit Me, you can find it as well in this one. Another foundation that's definitely on the fuller coverage side of things is the Superstay 24 Hour Full Coverage Foundation. This one, it's definitely fuller coverage. I do recommend using a sponge with this because sometimes I feel like with the brush it can be a little bit streaky at times. Again, shade range isn't the best. The shades that I can wear, they tend to be a little bit neutral, so they look a tiny bit pink on my complexion, but still definitely workable. But yeah, this is a good one. This one also does not have SPF, so if you like this formula but you want something that doesn't have SPF, try this one. This one doesn't really have flashback, but you know, some people just don't like to have any SPF in their makeup. Alright, let's move on to concealers. I have a couple to recommend. Let's start off first with the Revlon Colorstay. Again, another full coverage sort of like product. It even says on the packaging, full coverage concealer. If you are a fan of the MAC Studio Fix concealer, this is a very good dupe for it. Shade range isn't very wide as well, but if you can find a shade, it works wonders. Next I've got the Rimmel London Lasting Matte Soft Matte Concealer. So if you guys prefer like a matte concealer as opposed to like those creamy radiant concealers, obviously this is the one to go for. Again, not very many shades available, but you know, if you just want to use this for like the under eye, it's absolutely perfect. Then we've got this concealer from CoverGirl. This is the CoverGirl True Blend Concealer. Honestly, very good coverage. I wouldn't say it's as full coverage as the Revlon one, but it's a decent amount. Also, I like the packaging on this one. It honestly reminds me of the Tarte Shape Tape. So if you guys prefer concealers like this, sort of like with a larger doe foot applicator, almost the size of a lip gloss, that way you can just spread the product out quickly. Really good, really inexpensive. I wouldn't say it's a dupe for Tarte Shape Tape. This one's a tad bit drier compared to Shape Tape, but still a good alternative. Obviously the Maybelline Fit Me concealers as well. I don't have an open one at the moment. I don't really want to open one, but that one's a really good one as well. Definitely a wide selection of colours to choose from. And then we also have the L'Oreal True Match Concealer. Really like this one as well. This one I feel has a little bit of a dewy illuminating effect. I don't really see any shimmers in this one, but it does have that sort of like fresh dewy look underneath the eyes. Oh yeah, by the way, I went to the Priceline Burke Street Mall store. If you guys would like to watch me go through the store, and I did some recommendations as well in that one, I will link it on this screen. If you guys just want to have like that nice feel of going into store, if you guys are going to be ordering online. I know someone left a comment there saying that they couldn't go out in store, so it was nice to see the store. So if you guys are like that as well, yeah, just watch that video. Setting powders, I don't really have many that I've tried out recently that really has wowed me. I still do recommend the Fit Me loose powders. These ones are loose finishing powders, so they have this really nice soft effect, soft skin blurring effect on the skin. So if you want to use this for baking underneath the eyes, you're going to get that really nice soft blurred out effect under there. It looks so beautiful in person and amazing in photos and on camera. Okay, in terms of like bronzers, blushes, that sort of stuff, I don't have any that I've tried out recently that I've been really wowed by, so I can't recommend any of those. But we'll move on to eyeshadow palettes. Now, one brand that's really wowed me with the eyeshadow palettes, and mind you, in the last few years I've been quite spoiled, to be honest, in terms of PR, so I've been a little bit a bit of a eyeshadow snob, so I've kind of neglected the eyeshadow palettes available at the drugstore. But Australis has definitely won me over. So I've got a couple to show you, but I really like their formulations in these larger palettes. I can't speak for the smaller palettes, but these larger palettes are really nice. So the Girl Boss eyeshadow palette, as you guys can see, it's definitely more, I'd say your traditional sort of like neutral palette. I know they have another palette that's specifically just like neutrals, but this one's a really nice one as well. And you've got some colours down here to just add a little bit of variety. Yeah, overall the mattes are good. The shimmers are good as well. Like it's just an eyeshadow palette that works. Next we've got the Glamour eyeshadow palette. I have recently done a look on this, using this palette I should say. It will be out soon, but this is definitely one of those eyeshadow palettes that just screams soft glam. So if you guys are into soft glam, meaning a lot of mattes, this is definitely the eyeshadow palette for you. There are some shimmers as well in here as well, but they're sort of like champagne bronzy shades. Nothing too dramatic, nothing too deep as well. Then we've also got this really fun palette, the Mesmerize eyeshadow palette. I used to call this the Mermaid palette. But yeah, it's really pretty, and it's also got really chunky glitter bits eyeshadows here. So the other palettes have more like fine refined shimmer. This one is definitely like big chunky glitter. I do recommend using your fingers with these though, but yeah, if you guys want to play around with pinks and purples, this is definitely the palette to try out. Now, Makeup Revolution or Revolution and iHeart, they have amazing palettes. The one I really recommend grabbing if you can, if you are into creative makeup looks, is this one. This one is the Revolution Pride Express Myself, basically face palette. I recently created a Pride look using this. I think it's just, to be completely honest, I think it's just nice and handy to have one of these if you are into like creative makeup, or you just want to play around with makeup, and you know, when festivals and stuff like that happen again, it's just going to be handy to have that. I think I got that for like $16, so you can imagine with the sale it's going to be even more inexpensive. Let's wrap it up. I'm almost done. Let's wrap it up with lipsticks. Let's start off first with this gloss. This one is from Revlon. This one is their Super Lustrous The Gloss. I really like the formula of this. It's not sticky. It just gives a nice glass-like effect on the lips without it looking like you've just dipped your lips in oil, if that makes sense. And I like how the formula works with lipsticks, because usually when I wear lip gloss, I wear it on top of lipstick. I never really wear it on its own. And yeah, it just looks nice. It doesn't leave that weird like white line as bad, I should say. It still does, but it's not as bad as other lip glosses I've tried. The Superstay ink crayons from Maybelline. So that's what that one looks like. So they're basically gigantic lip crayons, as the name implies. You can use these as the lipstick themselves, or you can use this as a lip liner. I tend to use these as a lip liner as opposed to just using the lipstick. I don't know, ever since I've done like the darker lip liner thing, I've just been obsessed and I can't just wear a solid colour anymore. And then I recommend the Superstay Matte Ink Lippies. I just really like the formula of these. They can be a little bit tacky if you've applied a little bit too much. I mean, a little bit too much, but the colour is really nice and just very opaque. This is my natural lip colour. As you guys can tell, it does have a decent amount of pigmentation, and whenever I wear nudes, it's really hard to find a good nude that will just kind of like mask it, and this is definitely the formula that really masks my lip colour. Not that there's anything wrong with my lip colour, it's just sometimes you just need a very, very nude lip with the look you're going for. And that is pretty much my recommendations for the upcoming Priceline sale. Again, I'll have all the details about the sale down in the description box down below, available for you guys as well. And yeah, don't forget to check out the other videos if you guys want more recommendations, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye!